we can start our panel discussion. I would like to first give the floor for Mandy, because I think she had a better experience in the health tech ecosystem challenges and the way forward. And then I will give the next floor for EOL, followed by Nabi. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's such an honor to be here, and I'm very glad that you guys saved the best for last, because health is very fundamental to talk about, and I think the challenges that HealthTech entrepreneurs have, beyond all the normal challenges that any entrepreneur has, is really a different journey and deserves all the support it can get. So I'm really honored to be part of this panel discussion and just bring up some of the key topics for discussion today and in the HealthTech journey for a HealthTech company. Delivering amazing products into this space. So, as WESGRO, I play a role in understanding what it is that the ecosystem of HealthTech products and services offer within the Western Cape, our region. And the video you saw is one of the initiatives that we do under the export promotion trade team within WESGRO, and they support companies to grow and take products globally. So, access to markets, being able to go to market, putting a brand, almost quality stamp on your region, and being able to promote what we do in the Western Cape as a quality product. So my aim is really to put HealthTech on the map as well from the region, and being able to say that you can trust any product coming from our region because it's quality. Not just big HealthTech doesn't have to come from America, it doesn't have to come from Switzerland. Africa can also play a role in producing global products for Africa and for the globe.
Thank you, Mandy. I will go to EOL. So what do you think are the greatest challenges of startups take from what you have experienced here, and potentially we will raise the solutions later?
First of all, I would like to say welcome to the Gazette's final day. Hope you enjoyed the past 2 days, and hope to see you many of you. Like I've met some of you, but okay. I've met some of you, but I hope to see you during the dinner and network more. So, as a health tech company, striving to create a digital healthcare marketplace for African men, and the first fintech company, the challenges that I observe in Africa, to be specific in Ethiopia, it's lack of access to capital. We don't have many local investors. We don't have many African investors. Most of the investment comes from the West. And when you talk of fintech, Africa got only 17% of the founders or co-founders are female, and only 30% of them are female investors. So you can think of the challenge when it comes to access to capital. Even if you get the capital, for example, we have managed to raise around 250K pre-seed, that's good. But our fear is, and what most African countries, startups are facing, is the lack of capital to scale up. The first year failure of African startups is around 75%. The largest contributor by Ethiopia and Ghana, 75 and 74%. The least failure is in Kenya, which is 24%. When you ask why, you see one thing, that is regulation. Regulation enabling startups. So I wish the representative of Ministry of Health was around here. Our offering, for example, that we care is e-pharmacy. For a country of 120 million, in which Ethio Telecom claims around 27 million of them use internet, delivering products, ordering products, medical products, pharmaceuticals using technology is a challenge. And the technology is ahead, and the regulatory platforms are not there. So I would say it's sandboxing, like endorsing the startups that are here, creating enabling environment for them to provide their service, but at the same time protect the need of the customer, will be an ideal situation, and I believe Ministry of Health, Ministry of Innovation will work hard on that. In this case, not only limited to Ethiopia, most startups in Africa, tech startups, face the same challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoy. So basically now we are raising the challenge, but when we are startups and when we are innovatives, I think the next thing what we should do is we should really look into what are the opportunities that we have. So when we think of Africa, one of the biggest opportunities, we are going to host the largest youth market or the largest youth manpower in the coming decade. So that is one of the biggest opportunities that we can tap in. The next thing is in Africa, mobile technology is penetrating well. So we can think of startups who are still working on mobile technologies where we can tap in, and that will give us a largest market share. In some countries, I think the governments are coming forward, partnership with the public and private partnership currently happening in some of the African countries should be part of the startup technologies. And I think that's another opportunity we should look for. Saying this, I would like to give the floor for Nabiyu, who is the Ethiopian Association Startup Ecosystem General Manager. So what are the opportunities that you see for startups in this ecosystem, and how shall we go forward?
Hello everyone. Thank you, Betty. I think I'm going to see your question in two perspectives. One, so all the challenges have been mentioned here. When we talk about all the challenges, it's basically an opportunity that things that we can also basically fix. When you see there's a human problem, that means we can work on it. When we see policy framework, the Startup Act that needs to be enacted, that means these are the things that we can fix. Some of the problems are very short that we can fix, so those are opportunities. Let's say fixing the policy will give us a lot of access to the things that we can do. Second, the human problem is we have a lot of human power. One of the things that we can do, some of it will take a while because a lot of people have to be trained, a lot of skills have to be developed. At the same time, we might also train a lot of people for the short-term jobs, for the DB jobs that we plan to do. So as an association, what we're trying to do is we understand what the problems are there, and one of the opportunities that we want to tap into is through the collaboration that we want to create for the ecosystem. We're building a platform for the association that will actually give us a lot of insight in terms of what we can get out of it, collect all the data that's over there, any incubation program, any acceleration program, anybody who will walk through any of the startup ecosystem, we'll try to capture it so that we can actually have a better understanding of what kind of opportunities are there, other than the fact that we're all biased by the things that we know and the things that we actually experience, let's say, because we are an association, we understand most of the issues with the policy. Then I've done also incubation, I also had my own startups. So I understand most of the things could be a problem, but then we actually need to put it on the ground and understand which one is which and how can we fix it as well. So one of the things that we're trying to do is do a gap assessment for the ecosystem. So try to understand also what existed there and also what we succeeded in, also what we failed at, and actually have a better insight in terms of a very tangible insight rather than being biased about it.
So let me add one more question. What do you think are the bottlenecks in the policy and regulation when we come to Ethiopian startups?
For me, you see, I've had my startups. Policies are just enablers, but then you can always do certain things regardless of the policy. Because every other company or startups have started regardless of whether the policy existed or not. But then everybody has to actually evaluate certain things and eventually push it to the market, existing market, try to see if they can find any data. But then once you evaluate the market, it's also very good understanding also what the policymakers, how things work, what are the problems, what's the threshold that we can tap into or what we need to protect as well. So unless certain things are tried and tested in the market, to me, putting the policies after what we tried and actually failed at, but then to put it prior to anything, it's really very tough to see most things. So my understanding is the bottlenecks are not the policy. We have a bit of a conceptual problem in terms of understanding business and startups. Those are things that need to be fixed. It will take a while to learn because we have a very short history of doing business. Doing business requires people understanding, creating values. It's not like just going there and do transaction, buying beer or not. That's not the concept, but it requires a lot of collaboration. It requires a lot of network has to be done. A lot of human connections have to be created so that at least we can tap into that one. And that could actually help us with the network and eventually ecosystem that we can work around.
Thank you, Nabil. So before giving an opportunity back to you, one of the things that should be raised in policies and regulation regarding the health tech, I think it should be the patient safety. So always we should consider the patient safety in between when we consider health techs related with that. So EOL would like to add some opportunities points in African startups.
Thank you, Dr. Betzel. When it comes to opportunity, as an African, you might feel it's hard to get access to capital. It is, but in 2021, African startups have managed to raise $4.3 billion. And 81% of it came from venture capitalists. Ventures, they don't invest on you unless they make sure that you are generating revenue and you are paying back. It's really a good opportunity to see. But the challenge is this money went to Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, and Kenya. So the other opportunity is to see what they are doing really. What makes this country different than the rest of Africa? There are 53 countries and 5 of them are getting this 81%. One experience from our side is we use crowdfunding, trying to raise a lot of money from different people, and most of the time using online means. COVID gave us the opportunity to use online means. Most of us are accustomed to that, so I see this as an opportunity.
Mandy, I'm coming back to you. So what do you think the future for health tech in Africa should look like? There are many startups, I guess, here who are starting their journey. From your experience, what should be the future look like for them?
Excellent question. So for me, we don't have lack of ideas. We don't have lack of entrepreneurs trying to put their neck out to make a success and create dignity platforms to a basic human need. There are enough markets. People in this day and age still don't have access to healthcare, proper healthcare, and that is a big problem. So there is such a need for products to reach the market. We need the innovation to actually reach the front line. We have too many doctors not even aware of the innovation that's available to them, like Liquid or Zuri. Some of the big pitches that we had today, even yours, how do we get the innovation that's available onto the map for healthcare systems to actually procure it so that companies can also make money and create more products? It's a whole cycle that we want to enforce. So platforms like this is catalytic in terms of creating a noise, creating momentum around innovators and the entrepreneurs that are putting products on the line. But how do we use this to not just recognize the glamour of being an entrepreneur and being celebrated, but using this as a platform for conversations for all the enablers and the ecosystem players to support what's really necessary? I 100% agree. Funding is a massive challenge within HealthTech. People tend to stay away. It's a risky product. It potentially can ruin lives or save lives. Either way, depends on the technology. But how to walk that line to say, how do we create successful products that are actually able to change every one of our lives because we all depend on it. Healthcare is fundamental and we need it. So working together, collaboration is key. So many people are offering some kind of support, but it's very fragmented. The entrepreneurs don't know where to go to find the information that they need in order for them to be successful. And the journey is tough. So how do you support that one human being, the entrepreneur, that's able to impact on every one of our lives? that's key, and we can only work together more with the sector.
Thank you, Wendy. I think since this is the last panel, I think we are going to take the shorter time as possible. So if you have anything that you would like to add, I will give you the stage. Otherwise, I'm going to summarize.
This is my observation. I don't think it's an actual data or an insight. So, in my understanding of this country, most things that have been developed in this country came through institutions. Institutions had a path that built a society in delivering certain products. Let's say you've seen the engine outside. The Ethiopian Airlines was built by soldiers. Eventually, soldiers ended up building other institutions in Ethiopia. But then, if you see military is all about discipline. That discipline needs to be instilled in every institution where we can get people that can actually take risks, understand certain things, and also develop and deliver. So one of the things that we need to build, even if it's under incubation or acceleration, is there needs to be quite a discipline in terms of testing certain products or asking certain questions, or could be critical questions, could be philosophical questions or whatever. But certain things to be developed which requires a lot of discipline. If you see countries like Israel, I've done my MBA there, so the thing that I wanted to see was not the actual ecosystem, but then it was the military that they build. Forget the fact that there is a war right now, but then when everybody's 18, everybody goes to military for 3 years, get disciplined, understand certain things that they don't know. Or also for the woman, they also go for 2 years. So other than the fact that, forget the fact that it's military, but then there's a place for being disciplined. Question things that you haven't questioned before, but also it's a good chance for people to get out of their comfort zone and disrupt certain things. So those kind of paths can actually help people, I don't know, go take a risk. But then when we see startups are all about too many uncertainties. But then people need to have such kind of conceptual models to understand uncertainties, go through them, ask questions, fail and get that. But then if you see a country like us, it's a bit tough to actually understand failure or accept failure. So we need to work on the stigmas that we built as a society for actually to have very great founders. But then once you have founders, I think the hard side is developing founders. So once you have founders, those founders can actually develop certain products. If you see most startups, it's not only one person that built it and leave, but then it's, so once somebody comes into the ecosystem, they don't leave easily. So if you are a startup, there is a founder, that founder could be an advisor for another startup, they might even co-found with another company, they might be a coach to another startup, they might do incubation, acceleration or other startups. So the hard side is developing the human part, where getting good founders. Once we get that part, I think the rest could be easy in terms of fixing policy, getting finance, testing products, because we need to build a network of founders that can actually scale easily. But then it takes a while to actually get developed, to get great founders. So I think the hardest part is getting actually the founders. So those are things that need to be, the rest could be fixed easily, in my understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. So then take-home message will be try to be more disciplined as possible. I will give the last chance for you.
Thank you, Dr. Vettel. The past 2 days, I think our motto is doing together we can. So African Startup brought a lot of startups here. And I believe together, like given that Kathleen gave us the platform to network, I don't know, using one of the social media or email group, I think sharing our challenges and opportunities can give us a big voice in this diverse community of African population. And as you know, politics changes frequently, so having a big presence in the voice as an African together can boost the startup economy. And as you said it on the first day, after 10 years, you might say we've been there, given that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Yue. So the last call of action will be for any investors or any institutions interested in the health tech and any startups here. I think we should focus for an African problem, an African solution. So we should always have a local solution which should be drawn in, because it should always be contextualized. And the next thing we should always think is our social impact. What are the social impacts from these startups should be considered. And the last thing is always should be promoted, should be the public-private partnership. Some of the ideas may not be sponsored by the investors. They might not want the attention of the investors, but still the public-private partnership should be the one that we should concentrate. Saying this, I would like to wind the panel discussion, and I would like to thank all my panelists. Thank you.